want to talk about how you, Mary, are you kidding me? What the Mary? Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. In this video, I want to talk about why it is so important that we create authentically and from the heart and really resist the urge to copy other creators and take what they're doing and say, well, if it works for them, then that's what I should do too. This is inspired by watching Vanessa Lau's recent video where she talked about how she grew her coaching and creative business to $8 million. She has over 700,000 subscribers on YouTube, but because she fell down this path of listening to a lot of outside voices telling her how she should run her business, how she should grow her channel, and didn't have like a really grounded and rooted sense of self, it led to her having all of this money and success externally, but actually internally really going through it. It's a powerful, amazing video. Highly recommend it. And it was really powerful for me because it's so tempting to look at the folks who are doing very well. And many people will say, just do what they're doing, you know, because we know it works. There's this tricky balance between not reinventing the wheel because we've got wheels that work and not simply outsourcing our creativity to other sources because we think, well, if that's what works, maybe what I want to bring to the table isn't actually worth bringing to the table. What I love about Vanessa's video is that she's someone who has truly learned from other creators and she did have success doing it that way. So it's not that you won't necessarily have success doing it that way. You could be successful externally, but the thing is internally where it really matters and where there really needs to be alignment in order for you to keep doing it. If that happiness isn't there, you're gonna end up doing what she did, which is like shutting down her business and taking a whole year off. And if we just think external success is what matters, we're gonna say, well, it would be nice to be both internally happy and externally successful, but if I can only pick one, let me go ahead and make sure that I have my needs met and I've got all this money in the bank and I have this nice house and all these different things. I can relate to that mindset, but having her say like, look, I've been to the top of the mountain. It's not as nice as you think. It's just such a reminder of like, oh, I also don't have to learn the hard way. Like I also don't have to learn firsthand what so many people say is true about chasing external success. YouTube actually showed me this Lady Gaga clip. It was her in an interview like from a few years ago where she was talking about fame and how like, you know, it's not illegal for her to be followed on the beach, which was very ironic given my recent experience being recorded on a beach. And she said,
I miss people.
Just having normal conversations with people?
Yeah, I miss people.
we always think ostracized is because something bad has happened, right? That you're being shunned from society. But actually it can be because you've sort of lifted yourself up through your amazing gifts and through your amazing talents and reached this level of fame that you're kind of ostracized because people can't relate to you and you can't relate to people because your experiences and all of the ideas people have about who you are has really gotten in the way. I was listening to Beyonce's new song, 16 Carriages, which I love. Oh my gosh. I literally isolated the exact point in the song. I think it's around 2 minutes and 38 seconds, literally, where a note hits and I cry. I'm already crying, but then that note hits and I cry even more. I love it. But a lot of that song is her speaking just more frankly about, listen, I have been on the road for literally decades. I miss my kids. I'm overworked, you know? And she says like, literally only God knows what it's been like, you know? Of course we see the beautiful, amazing, glamorous side of what it's like to be Beyonce, but like everything, there's this other internal inner struggle that's a lot less fun and a lot less sexy. And I was actually talking to my friend Kate, love her. She actually is launching a new book that's coming out. We were talking about this conversation around sort of showing up authentically as yourself. I'm someone who started off like very traditionally Christian, you know, and then as I've been going on my spiritual journey, a lot of the ideas that I really rejected straight up from a place of fear started to come into my life and make more sense. But I know I'm not alone in having to wrestle with that fear of, you know, people came to my channel as I was showing up in one way. Are they going to walk with me as I evolve? And do I feel comfortable even talking about these things? Because I know there is a lot of fear in this community. How did you get to the point where you felt comfortable showing up online and talking about star seeds and aliens and pulling readings for the collective and all these things that some people still say like that is just straight up crazy?
I think the beautiful part about where I am now compared to where I started was that I didn't get to a place where I felt comfortable all of a sudden. I just did it while I was extremely uncomfortable. And I know we talk about that from a coaching perspective of putting yourself in the room even though you're not quite ready. And when it comes to spirituality, I was feeling so pushed and so carried forward to share what I knew was true to me that I ended up just putting myself out there and had the complete philosophy of like, no one's going to watch this. And that was the framework that I held in my head for a while. The discomfort got stronger when people started paying attention. Whether it's spirituality or making your own clothes or changing your hairstyle or giving somebody advice on how to change their business, it's really all about embodying who you really are and knowing that I'm speaking my truth and that I'm not trying to communicate to gain anything and that it genuinely feels like it's coming from the inside. And if I don't share it, I'm gonna blow up.
And I'd say one of the biggest things when it comes to getting in alignment with your own creativity, so you're not looking externally to other people, is to really connect to your own trust and your own intuition. I found that when I have made promises to myself, little promises, but big promises too, and I've broken that commitment and I've broken that trust with myself, that creates a much deeper chasm than just the one decision, you know, because it fundamentally makes me question, okay, Chimdi, when you say you're gonna do this, when you have this vision, when you have this dream, can we trust that you're actually going to be committed to me, to yourself, you know, to actually realize it? And so what I've had to do lately is really examine, okay, what are the areas in my life where I know what I want to be doing, I know what feels right for me, and I'm actually not listening, and I'm actually ignoring that part. And where can I go and sort of set things right and set things back in motion? And oftentimes it involves having to really face some kind of fear that I have around why I'm breaking this trust to myself. I'm not doing it for fun. I really think like, no, this choice that I'm making really is the best choice for me. And so really connecting to what was that motivation that said, hey, this choice is more important than your commitment to yourself or to your trust to yourself. And meeting that part of myself with love and with compassion. And there is anger and there is sadness as well. But at the root of it is this part of me that just wants me to be happy and successful and loved and cherished and is making decisions trying to make sure that happens, not knowing sort of the full story, not being at, you know, full consciousness, and as a result, sort of creating situations that aren't fully aligned. The more I'm able to really just pause and be like, okay, something is not in alignment, and actually examine, like,
is this coming from an innate need to express your truth? Even more so, do you have the relationship with yourself enough to be able to know what that is? Because if you're following your passion and you're following your truth and you're following what genuinely lights you up inside, all the doors are going to open and all that backlash is just going to feel like the peanut gallery. The other key element, have people in your corner, have people that remind you that what you're talking about is not insane. They're picking up what you're putting down. What really kept me going in the early days of my channel was that every video, one person would message me and say, that energy reading changed my life. For all of the other insecurities, knowing that I affected one person in a positive way was enough for me to keep the perspective that we're going to get some rocks in our shoes as we go by. Those rocks might be the doubters or the naysayers, but we know where we're going as long as it's in the vibration of love and with the intention of being in the vibration of love. The people who are showing up with the flaming sticks trying to burn you at the stake, they're not going to last for very long.
What I found for myself too is that I've made a bunch of videos on my channel about quitting weed. What I found is that when the desire to start smoking comes up in me, that's a clue that in some way I'm out of alignment. Because the way I relate to smoking is from this place of I am unhappy in some way. I can't handle it. I don't feel like I can change it. I feel powerless. So I'm going to numb and I'm going to suppress this feeling and I'm going to take this shortcut towards feeling better that I know I can trust, basically, since apparently I can't trust myself. And so I had that happening over these last few days where I was like, wouldn't it be nice to get high? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, like something's going on, right? And so I had to just really pause and look at my life and be like, okay, in what situations, in what relationships am I like not actually in full alignment? When I was able to go to those situations and be like, actually, like this actually isn't in alignment, that desire to smoke immediately went away. This is going in the outtakes, Mary. I hope you know, I hope you're ready.
This is all also like, I don't know how your inner world has been lately, but like it is carnage out there And like, if this is all that's happening, you're in a great place.
Literally, she pays every bill. So like, why am I even mad for a moment?